Good morning, everyone. This is our online workshop, a third workshop in this semester. In this workshop, I have designed 3 specific cases that you guys can follow. And based on these 3 cases, you can build up your own project on the top of this basic. Just to remind you, these 3 cases is not enough for you to finish your project. So you still have to use the time after the class to do some technical studies based on the things that you want to achieve. But these 3 cases can give you some general understanding, a base infrastructure to build up your own work. And in these 3 cases, I will only use the most fundamental function inside Unreal Blueprint to teach you how to make these things work. Also, I want to give you guys a very important idea. It doesn't matter how it looks like. At least you have to make your work functional and be interactive. That's the first part. Although Unreal can be super powerful in visualizing things, I think way more better than Unity. But that's not the point for now. The point for now is that to give you guys the ability to make your work become a MVP, a minimum viable product, prototype. So in order to do that, the first things you guys have to know is about the idea and also the logic of Blueprint. Anyway, let's get started. So first things, you can see that I have already opened up a third-person template. Usually I will start with third-person template because it contains most of the important function and also resources, game asset inside Unreal. So rather than using empty template or maybe the top-down or first-person template, I prefer to using that one. Even I want to change that, we still can using game mode to change third-person map template to another different set. So that's the reason I prefer to use this one. Okay, let's get started. So first things, let's take a look. This is the map. The things we are going to do is to do the basic setting of this level. You can see that this map, we call them as a level, and you can find a map right here on the third person part. So this part, this is your map. So if you want to increase the number of levels, for example, in your game design, you have 3 different levels, 4 different levels, then you can increase the new level inside this folder so that you can switch in between the different level, or you can just right click and choose duplicate. Right now you cannot do that, but you can do them right here. So open level or new levels. Alright, so first idea, take a look about this one. This is the blueprint for your game, the character blueprint. So this one is a object-oriented blueprint, which means that basically this program, this script, will be seen as an object inside this game. So if you want to copy the blueprint to another game or to another project, it is okay. And another blueprint is level blueprint. That's the things we are going to work. So please go to here, the icon right here, level over the world. If your version is different from mine is 5.4. So if your version is different from mine, probably you have to take a look and try to find where it is. Let's click and choose open level blueprint. So what's the difference of the level blueprint and the object, or let's say actor blueprint? Basically, this one is an object. so it can only work inside this level and it won't affect the whole world. It only affects this object itself. However, for the level blueprint, basically it will affect the entire levels, right? So sometimes if you write down some script or some code in the level, you cannot, or let's say it's very hard for you to code the data from the level. After all, this one is bigger than the object. So if you want to code the data from the level, it's a little bit hard for Unreal to know which part and what kind of information you want to code. But if you want to code information from maybe this actor blueprint to another one, then it is possible. They can communicate with each other. And also, if you want to use level blueprint to code some data from specific actor blueprint, it is also possible. Okay, so anyway, just give you an idea the level and hierarchy of blueprint inside Unreal. And there are more that we need to know, but we can talk about that later. So let's take a look about this one. What's the things we're going to do? The first thing is that we are going to enable the control of our mouse. So that's the things I'm working on right here. I will delete everything, or we can just hold on the Alt key and remove the connection. Hold on your Alt key and click the input point or output point, then you can disconnect the connection between all these components. So this is your canvas, and right now we are working on event graphic. This is the one that can work after you start to play the game. So which means it will only work after you start the game. It won't show up in the building mode. So right now this one is the building mode, okay? So but once you start to play, the event graphic will start work. Let's go back to here. So the first thing is we have to call out event begin play. You can see that this one is a red color component. It means it is an event. In certain situation, it can work. So for every event blueprint, it can only exist once in one blueprint. So we have to delete the original one. Using your right mouse button, click on the empty area, go to find event, begin play. So what's that for? It means that once you start to play, these components will start to work and send our executing signal to the next stage. So that's the first part. The second thing we have to do is to get the player controller. If you are using the PC mode, so for sure our controller will be your keyboard and your mouse. So just right click and go to search, get player controller. So it's right here, get player controller. And don't use in this way for searching. Get player controller. If you do this way, if you search from the output point right here, then you will find out why it disappeared. It's not the one I want. These two are function. That are the function for the input devices. So it's not the things I will need to have. So basically, if you search through the executing output, then you can only search for the one that can be connected with this output point. So that's the difference. Let's do that again. Right click on the empty area and search get player controller. So now we have. You can see that the output point is different from this one, so they cannot be connected. But this is the controller for getting our input devices. Alright, so now let's go to find another three. The three object will be like this. Take a look. The first one, enable mouse over event. And if you cannot find that, you can uncheck the context sensitive so that you can search the whole database, data library and find the things you want. So the things we're going to use is this one, set, enable mouse over event, not get. Get is about to get the data. Set is about to reset the status. So the things we're going to use will be the second one. So right here we have. Just follow this order to find the other tools. Right click, show, mouse, cursor. Again, it's about set, not get. Okay, so now we have. So in order to make these three work, first things we have to make sure they are working on our devices. So let's connect these two together. You can see their color are the same. So you can just connect them to here. And also we have to make sure this one is checked. What's that for? This is a Boolean toggle. So actually you can drag this one out and choose promote to variable and using a Boolean toggle to control that. But if you don't want to do that, you can just simply check that. And right now it means that this toggle has been turned on. This is true. And next things we have to connect the executing single to these three. But you will find out once you connect to the first one, you cannot connect to the second one. That's because for event begin play, it will only send out one single. Okay? It will only send out one single. So if you want to separate the single from the event begin play and make this one become multiple singles, the things we have to do is to use sequence. Using sequence to send out multiple singles. So let's go to here. Let's go to find sequence. And you can see that right here you have multiple outputs. And you can press this plus icon, increase the number of the output points. So now let's connect. So this is the basis for this game project. Once you finish, don't forget to save and compile. And just remember, this one is set up under the level blueprint so that it can work in the entire game, in the entire level. And for this one, the function of this little tree is to make sure, first things we can get the information about our mouse. Second thing, once we click, it will react to us and also make sure that we can use these interaction to activate, to enable some kind of event. So for example, if you want to start up a dialogue, or maybe if you want to start up a new event inside your game, we have to do this first. Okay, so once we finish that, we can keep moving forward. Once we finish the level blueprint setting, let's go back to the editor. First things, I want you guys organize the structure of your folder. So let's create a new folder. Go to Add, choose New Folder, and I prefer to call this one probably RAY. That's my English name. Let's call this one Blueprint. So all the things I did, I will put them right here. And I accidentally put them under third person. I don't want to do that, so we can just simply drag, put them under the content. move here. So right now it will be right here. Sorry, this one. Okay. So the next things we're going to do right now, we are going to create a new object blueprint or actor blueprint. So let's right click, choosing blueprint class. So we can choose different classes of blueprints right here. So I think the most useful one will be these 7: actor, pawn, character, player controller, game mode base, actor component, scene component. So that would be the most common things right here. But actually there are more blueprints. Just like what I mentioned before, Unreal is a very huge and super powerful platform for developing games. So there are many different type of class that you will use inside this platform. So basically all these class will relate it to the C++ classes. So if you click here, you will see there are so many different type of classes. And all these things right here, you can do custom change. So basically using Blueprint, it can almost completely replace C++, but the efficiency is not that good at all. But if you just want to create a medium-sized project or prototype, it is quite enough for you to use that. Okay, so now let's go to here. We don't need to use them, we just need to use them. So I will choose this one, actor. Basically all the things inside the level, inside the game, we can call them as actor. So this is the biggest classes, biggest level of blueprints inside object blueprint. Let's choose this one, actor. And I'd like to call this one BP clickable actor. Okay, so that's the things we are going to do for the next part. Basically, for the things we are going to do right here is very simple. We are just going to make this one can be clickable, and once you click or once you attack it, the color, the status will be changed. I think for most of your teams, you are going to use this one, no matter it's about the plants growing game or it's about the goose game. Basically you are going to use this one. You can use this one in your project. Okay, let's double click, open up the blueprint editor. So you can see that the interface is a little bit different from this one, but basically idea is pretty much the same. Right now we have a viewport because for every actor blueprint, you can drag your 3D model to here and write the code under this 3D model. That's the feature of the actor, or let's say object blueprint. Okay, so first thing is let's add 3D model. You can just directly drag from the viewport. For example, you can go to find some 3D model inside the starter pack and drag them to here. But for this time, I will just directly add the model inside blueprint. Let's go to add. And the things I want to find is static mesh. Let's choose this one. And once we put this one inside, you can see that right now there's nothing show up because we haven't choose what kind of geometry we are going to use. So let's click this one and go to the detail panel. For the detail, it will show you all the important detail specific information of this model. So you can go down and take a look. Let's choosing static mesh and choosing the one you want to have. I think for this time we can just simply choosing cube. Let's choose shape cube. So now once you change that, you can see that your static mesh has become a cube. Okay. The next things we are going to do is to make sure this one has different type of material. You cannot just directly add material from here. Right here we can also set material. Okay. Also we can set material right here, but that's not the things we want to do because we want the material can be changed based on our script. So in order to do that, the things we have to do is go to variable. Variable basically just like the name of itself, it's something that can be changed based on your operation. So if we have the many different type of variable, like we have booleans, we have numbers, we have references, etc. So now we are going to add material reference. We are going to add material variables. Okay, let's go to here and click choosing new one. And let's call this one mat normal one, which means material regular one. Okay, and next is we have to sure make this one is not Boolean type. The type of the material will be material interface. So let's go to search. Material interface, and the one we're going to choose will be object references. And you can turn on the little eyes right here so that you can change that under the editor mode. I mean, right here. Anyway, let's go back to here. And I need one more, so let's choosing add. Again, mat active. Okay, again, open up your eyes and choosing compile and save. Right now, I think that will be totally fine, nothing special. So, we are just adding new things to this blueprint. So for sure, uh, it's supposed to work. And also, there is an important thing that we have to check. First things, for these two, make sure you have checked instance editable. You have to choose that, otherwise you cannot change the material while you are playing the game. Okay? Alright, so for the next part, we are going to set the material for these two instances. So you can see that right here, right now, we can change the material. Okay, I probably put one more number here. I want to delete that. Let's compile and save. And by the way, this default value will only show up after you choose compile and save. So make sure you choose these two first. Alright, let's go to find some material. I think for this one, let's just choose some very simple one, maybe basic walls. This is the basic. And for the active one, we can choose some different color or different type. Maybe something more clear, or probably we can make them become moss or gray. I think it would be interesting. We can do that, change that later, so don't worry about that. Okay, so now we have two different materials. Now, once we finish the setting of material, we need one more variable. We are going to create a Boolean toggle. So let's create, and I will call this one BIS active. So for this Boolean toggle, we can using that to control true or false condition of your script. So that's the things we're going to do. And don't forget change the type to Booleans. And you can turn on the eyes. Okay. So now I think we have already finished the basic setting of this blueprint. The next part, we are going to do the event graphic. So please go to here to find the event graphic. If you accidentally turn off this one, it is okay. Just double click here and you can turn on again. And where is the construction speed? You can turn on right here. So that's it, nothing special, don't worry about that. So make sure you have finished the setting of the variable and put the model material inside. So now we are going to do the next step. Okay, so let's keep working. Right now we are still working on the BP ClickableActor, and we are inside the event graphic. Let's take a look. So at the very beginning, for every actor blueprint, you will see there are 3 default events right here, including event begin play, event actor begin overlap, and also event tick. Basically, this is the fundamental 3 events inside every actor blueprint. But right now we don't need to use that because we are going to use some customized event. So it will only work on the specific situations. So now let's go to the left side. And the things we are going to do is to create custom event. So you can do that right here. Just create, sorry, not this one. You can just go do that right here. Just right click and create a new event. Or you can just go to here, choosing add custom event. So this is the custom event. Once you create, you will see that it will show up right here. So basically you can just do that in the on the canvas, or just go to here to create that. Anyway, we are going to create 2 custom events. The first custom event will be activate. So let's go to here and type in activate. This is the first one, the first custom event. And the second custom event, it will be deactivate. So let's right click. Again, let's choose add custom event. Let's call this one deactivate. Okay, so now we have these 2. So the next thing we are going to do is to set the custom event. So we have to use this one. We have to use our Boolean toggles. We have to use our variable. So you straight them out. And you have to choose set, not get. Because set, we can use a different component to change the status of this variable. So let's choose set. So you can see that in order to make this one work, we have to first things connect the executing output to the input part. So that's the first one. And for the second things, we are going to reset the material of our model. So like this, you can drag and choosing set material. This one. So for this one, nothing special, but we have to change the material to the one that we just used. So you can just simply drag activate. I think it's supposed to be material active, not the normal. So let's drag to here. Choose this time we need to choose get because we are going to using the info, the data inside this variable. So let's choosing get. Connect to here. And for sure, for the executing part, we have to connect them together. So this is the first one. Let's try to organize them. If you want, you can double click create a new node so that you can somehow organize your blueprint. And if you don't like that, then just delete that. Okay, so that's it. That's the first one. And also make sure the BS active is true. You can check this one, or you can drag this one out, promote to variable. So you will have a new Boolean toggle to control that. But I think it's not necessary. So you can just simply check this icon. For the deactive, basically it's pretty much the same idea. So we can just directly Ctrl C, Ctrl V, copy everything. And connect them together. But for sure, this time we don't use the material activate. This one is supposed to be the normal. So let's connect, drag the material normal to here. Connect the material normal to the material input. And also, if you want, for example, like a plants growing game project, probably once you click, it's not only about to change the color or change the material, it's also about to change the size and geometry. So you can put that one inside now. We can do that right now. So let's try to do that. First things, we already have the mesh. So you can drag from the mesh output and choose Set World Scale. 3D. So for the world scale, it will using the world coordinate and the world scale to scale up your model. And also for sure, it still requires an executing point, just like this one. And for a new scale, you can type by yourself, like, okay, this one is maybe 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, okay, something like that. And for the bottom side, it will be pretty much the same. Just copy this one, connect to here, connect to here. But for this time, the new scale will be the same because it's the regular mode, so it should not be changed. Okay, once we finish, if you don't think they are useful now, you can just delete so that make your canvas clean up. Choosing compile and save, so nothing special, nothing ever happened. So the next step we are going to do is to set the detail of our mesh component. So let's keep moving forward. For the next things, let me delete something that I have done before first. For the next part, the things we are going to do is to make the model to make this cube can be clicked. So in order to do that, we have to choose the static mesh. And for every geometry, you can set some specific event for the geometry itself. So you can just scroll down and go to find events right here. So for this little cube, the things we're going to do will be this one on click. Once you add, press the plus icon, it will automatically generate a custom event on click static mesh for you. So this is the thing is to make the geometry can be clicked and can be activated. So for the next things we are going to do, we are going to create a conditions for this model. So let's drag from the executing point and go to find branch. So right now we have the branch. Branch basically is a condition component. It makes a condition for you, and you can choose whether this condition is true or not. So for sure, the condition in this part will be this one, the Boolean active. Whether the Boolean active or not, it will affect the conditions. So let's drag to here and choosing get, connect to here. So for the next part, let's define the true situation and false situation. What kind of thing will happen after that? Let's drag. For this part, it's very simple. Let's just go to find print string. For this part, print string is a very simple component. It will just help you to show the status of the string. So for example, once this one is true, it will print a text. And once this one is false, it will print another text. That's the idea. So for this one, once it is true, probably we can change the word to something like maybe hit. And we can change the color to something like red color, so it will be more clear. And choosing compile and save. Okay. And for the second one, let's do the same things. Let's choosing print string. So for the word that we are going to print, it will be miss. And for the color, I think blue one is fine. Okay, so just like that. Compile and save. So right now we have these three scripts, the active, and once we click, it will change the material to show the different status. And also the size will be changed as well. And right here, we also make sure that once we click the box, once we hit the box, it will print a text which show you hit or miss. So that's the things. That's the things we done in this little blueprint actor. Okay, so for the next part, we are going to do some tests and debug for this script. So for the first part, it's pretty much done. Okay, so now I think our script is pretty much finished. So for the next things we have to do is about to define the Boolean toggles right here. That will be the most important part, and we have to make sure the Boolean toggle is on the right status. Otherwise, your script cannot work. So the idea will be like this. Let's turn down the blueprint editor first. So once we click this one, the model right here, the cube, will be change material and also enlarge. And once we click again, if it is false, then this one will be smaller again. It will be shrink, and also it will get to the default size and also get back to the default material. So that's the idea. Let's double click. So let's take a look. Basically, for this event, this one can only work when the condition that we are successfully click the box. And once we click again, it will turn the model back to the default setting, which means deactivate the conditions. So the thing is like this. We will use in this Boolean toggle to define the branch situation. At the very beginning, this one is supposed to be deactivate, so which means the Boolean toggle is false. And once we successfully click the buttons, click the box, so which means that this one is true. Which means that this condition is false because we successfully click the button. So the situation, the condition is different from this Boolean toggle. So this one will work. It will hit our model. Okay? So probably it will be a little bit different from the things we did before, but that's the modification after we double check the logic. So once we successfully click the box, the condition will be false because the default setting is true, is false, right? So this one right now, the condition is different from that, so it means we successfully click the box. So it's supposed to show hit, and also it will activate this one. Okay, so let me drag this one to here so that you can see more clear. So basically, once we successfully click the box, the Boolean toggle is false and the condition is false because we successful click the box. So it will activate the following condition. So how can we make this one keep working? Yeah, we can just drag and choosing activate. So this one basically, I think you can see this one. This one is a receiver and this one is the output. So basically once this receiver gets a signal, it will somehow transfer the signal to here and then activate the rest part, even though they haven't been connected. Okay? Or you can just do that, something like that. It can also work. But I would just stay like this. And so how about the true condition? For the true condition, it means that, okay, at the very beginning, you didn't select the box. So it is true, and it will show you miss. So it will be right here. And this one, let's choose deactivate. Okay. So once you finish this operation, the whole thing will look like this. Basically, the core event will be about the unclick it on the static mesh. And the default Boolean toggle is false. So once the condition is false, it's different from the Boolean toggle. It means that we successfully click the box. So it will activate the following things: change the size, change the color, etc. And if this one is true, it means that we didn't select the box, or maybe we double select the box. Then it will deactivate the models and also change the size and the material back to the default status. So that's the things. Okay, let's turn off this one and let's take a look whether it can work or not. Let's play, click, hit, double click, miss, click, 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 click. Okay, so that's it. But there is a problem. Even we click the outside part, I think it's supposed to go back, right? Because we click this box. But that's the problem of this code. Because for this one, it can only work when the condition that we successfully click the box. But if we miss that, this one won't work. So basically it means deactivate can never be done. Okay, this one can never be done. So that's the problem. So I want to create another one. Let's right click, duplicate. Let's call this one 2. The name is different, but the content is pretty much the same. So for this one, yeah, still the BIS active, I will keep this one as false. Okay, I will keep that one as false. But this time for the deactivate, I won't connect them here. Because for the deactivate, basically we just change that one to the default setting, right? Actually, this condition, the logic is a little bit weird because once we click, I think it's supposed to be down. And if we want to keep working on that, maybe we will just increase the size, keep enlarging the size, something like that. So the deactivate scenes actually it won't work. Once we hit that, maybe your enemy or your target object will be destroyed or reduce the health point, something like that. So actually the deactivate, I think it should never happen in a real game situation. So for this part, let's try to do this. For the deactivate situation, we can just simply connect this one after the activate one, because it's just about to change the model back to the default status. So you can just connect to here. I will put a delay component, probably 2 seconds. After 3 or 2 seconds, then the model will be deactivated. I think it makes more sense. So you don't have to misclick the model. This one will be activated. So basically we don't need that one anymore. It won't show you miss, because for the miss part, basically it cannot be done by unclick model. Okay, let's reorganize that. So this one, basically once you successfully click the model, then this script will be activated. And after 2 or 3 seconds, if you didn't keep clicking the model, then this script will be activated. So that's the idea. Let's take a look. Compile and save. Let's put them here. Let's play. So click. 2 seconds. Okay, go back. And this one, once we double click, it will go back. Click. 2 seconds. Go back. So that's the things. So I think for both of them, it can be a solution for you when you are going to do the plants growing or the goose adventure game stuff. You can use this one as a basic setting. So for example, like this one, right now, once we click, and it will enlarge the size, right? But actually we can try to probably do some change about that. For example, the new skill right here. Probably we can try to make this one. Let's right click, choosing split struct pin, and change the scale right here. And for this part, I want to use an add. The default setting is 1, and the new number will be 3. So compile and save to see what kind of thing will happen. So click. Okay, nothing special, still pretty much the same. So basically, I think we can do some change right here. You can use in the different component to change the size, like add, subtract, multiplication, etc. things. So that's about how we can do with this part. Alright, I will stop right here. So please try to finish this algorithm first. The first one is the BP clickable actor. So the setting right here is that once you double click your target, then it will go back to the default setting. And the second one is that by the delay component, after 3 seconds, your component will go back to the default setting. So you can try to do this too, and using them in your game project. Okay, so one last thing. This is for the plants growing projects. So you can take a look about how I do this. So once right now we start to play the game, if we click this box, you can see that it will change the size a little bit. And it will go back to default setting probably after 1, 2, or 3 seconds. I see it makes sense. So which means that if you don't keep clicking this box, well, your plans will go back to the default status. Probably it will die or it will go back to 3, something like that. But the problem is that right now even we double click this one, it won't grow. It won't keep growing. So that's the problem I want to fix. So let's go back to the clickable actor 2. Sorry, actor 1. That's the one I just changed. I changed using delay for change that. So how can we make this model can be keep growing? That's the things we are trying to do. So in order to do that, we don't need to change the size under activate event anymore. Let's delete. And in order to do that, I want to create a new custom event. And I will call this one grow once. So once we want to grow the plants, well, we will call this object. So that's the idea. Okay. So now, what's the next? The next thing is that we have to using static mesh. We can just Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, copy this one, and we need to get the original scale of this model. So get world scale. So now we can get the size of this model. Next things, this is a vector. You can see that it's a yellow color, and if you move your mouse icon to here, it will show you it's a vector. That's the size of this model. So we can use in multiply. Type in the number you want to have, probably 1.1, 1.1. Make sure all of them have some specific integer inside. Otherwise, if it's 0, then it will just go back to the plan or points. Okay, so now we have. The next things, just like the things we have done before right here, you can just directly copy. Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, copy the set word scale 3D. Connect the vector to new scale. Connect the target, static mesh to the target. And for the activate part, let's just connect the event object to here. So this is the final script. So it means that once we activate this event, we will get the original size of the static mesh. And then it will become 1.1 times bigger, and using this number to reset the scale. So now the next problem will be when we are going to use this one. Let's compile and see first. For this one, it's very simple. Actually, we can just simply connect this one to here. Like, okay, connect. I'm choosing grow once. Just like this. Okay. And also right here, we have to uncheck this one first. Let's scale down. Click. Okay, so now it will keep growing. And if after 2 seconds we haven't grown, click this model, it will go back. So probably you guys may think why we have to uncheck these buttons. Why? Why is that? Well, that's because basically for the Boolean toggle, the default setting is false. But once we successfully click the box, basically it will be changed to true. Okay? So if we click this one, if we force the status to be true, then this button will only be activated for the first time click. So that will be the preference. So for this time, we can uncheck this one, uncheck the Boolean toggle first, so that actually you can just directly connect them to here. I don't think that you have to reset this one. Let's see. Okay, still can work. So actually you don't have to using set Boolean toggles status to change that. So it will be more clear. For this one as well, you can just directly connect them to here. Just make using the branch to set the conditions. It will be easier. Let's see whether it can work or not. Okay, go back. So that's it. So probably for this one, you can do the same setting. We don't need to use this to change the condition anymore. You can just change the condition right here. Probably it will be more clear. Let's try. Okay, so probably for this one, still, because the logic flow for this component blueprint is more complicated, so we have to still have to use this one to reset the Boolean conditions. So it's more complicated compared to this one, and this one I think you can just directly use on your plant's growing setting. Okay, I will stop right here, and next part we are going to do another different case.